Welcome to the Better Off Bonus Call of the Week. We're sponsored by Betterment, the largest independent online financial advisor. If you want to get on the program and get a little financial advice, whatever the topic is, it doesn't really matter to me, send us an email. Ask Jill at betteroffpodcast.com. That's Ask Jill at betteroffpodcast.com. That's what John did. He's calling from Raleigh, North Carolina. John, is it possible that someone actually told me that a nickname for North Carolina is North Kakalaki? Is that true, or is that a lie?
No, that is true.
Okay.
They call it North Kakalaki.
But what is that? What's that from?
I have no idea.
All right.
No idea.
All right, we're done with that. Okay, John, what's going on? How can I help you out?
So I'm in a good spot. My wife and I are in a good spot. She just started a new job after staying at home, working her butt off, taking care of our kids for 16 years. She started back full-time making a very strong six-figure income, and coupled with my very good, strong six-figure income. And our good dilemma is, what do we do with the extra money?
I love extra money problems. So how much money do you have extra each month, would you guess?
Probably close to $3,800, $4,000 a month.
Okay. I'm going to use $4,000. That sounds great. Okay. Give me a sort of big picture. How old are you guys? Kids, debt, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. I am 56. My wife is 49. We have two kids in high school. One is just started her junior year, and my son just started his sophomore year. Both are expecting to go to college, which is going to factor into all of our discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Retirement-wise, my 401k and IRAs totals about, actually both of our retirement accounts together total about $730,000.
Great.
I am fully funding with the catch-up, so that's what?
24,500.
So that's
24,500. Right. Okay.
And it was only after listening to your show and when Ed Slott was on that I learned about the backdoor IRA or the backdoor Roth.
Mm-hmm.
The fortunate thing is that she got this full-time job right around the time we started to plan on doing that.
Okay.
So now with her new job, she is able to fully fund her 401k. So we're putting 20% of her income into her 401k to get her up to 18.5. And then next year we'll start adding the 6K into that as well.
So when you said you have $4,000 a month, is that in excess of the 18.5 that you're putting away, or
Yes.
including? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
So how much longer do you want to work?
Probably 12 years.
Okay.
I'm thinking of retirement at 67, 68 years old.
Okay. And how much do you think you need to live on in retirement?
Our plan is right now about $120K a year.
All right. So how much are you living on right now?
Probably. So we literally just started. She just started the 1st of August. So literally, we've been living on my paycheck alone.
Okay.
And I think that nets out to $9,400 a month.
Okay. All right. As long as you have run these numbers and you feel okay with it, then that's fine. I think that the other part of this is that, this is new to you. Are you clear that this is something she wants to do? In other words, is she wanting to stay at work for the next 12 years? Or is there any risk that she's like, I'm out of here, I'm not going to do this?
I don't think so. She it adds a whole lot of self-confidence to her.
Mm-hmm.
Getting back into the workforce, being hired on as a manager, managing other people in a career that she had before she stepped out to take care of the kids.
Yep.
And she feels like she's contributing to the retirement. She feels it's taking stress off of me, which, honestly it is. There's a whole lot of emotional things in it too, as I'm sure you can appreciate as a woman, in the sense that for 16 years she didn't feel like she was contributing to our retirement, our monthly cash flow and things along those lines, even though she's the COO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Running everything in the household. And now this just gives her an emotional and financial boost in our relationship. And it's really cool to see. It's really nice.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I think it does. It's like the working has huge benefits, especially for people who've been out of the workforce for a long time. So here's what I would say to you. You're on track to start putting away a lot more money. The extra money each month, are you thinking about this in terms of a supplement to your retirement, or are you thinking about this as you're going to need this to pay for college? Because you're going to have 2 kids in college at the same time.
Yeah. So let's go there.
Yeah.
So we have, as I'm looking at my numbers right now, we have $40,000 in 529 total.
Okay, got it.
We've been putting $400 a month, $200 for each kid for the past however many years. And so the question, one of the burning things that I'm sure you're getting into is it worth it to throw money into a 529? Do we put it in a brokerage account? Do we put it in a savings account?
Well, I'll tell you what, I would prefer to go into the 529 if you really think you're going to be, I mean, are both kids are college bound. Are they public or private school kinds of students? Don't throw your daughter under the bus on me.
No, not at all.
All right.
She's already toured MIT. We toured Harvard, and we went and visited close to NYU.
Uh-huh.
We walked past it, and she did not fall in love with NYU.
Fine. It's overrated. MIT's not, though.
So private school is definitely a possibility, and what we have communicated to our kids is you get into the school that you want, that we think is going to have a high payback as well, of course, but don't worry about paying for college. We will figure that out on the back end. It's not an open door in that if we have to pay $70,000 a year for a degree, for a bachelor's degree, that's probably not going to fly.
Right. I think that what I'm trying to figure out is that, how much of this money that really should go towards education, how much kind of juices up your overall retirement planning. I presume neither of you will be entitled to a pension going forward?
Correct.
Okay. This is a little bit, you're putting away $43,000 and it'll be, obviously it's going to be more. It's going to be almost $50,000 a year.
If we look at the company match, I think the number comes up to be about $74,000 a year.
Holy smokes. I'm liking that. And so if you work for 10 or 12 more years, that's real money. So here's what I think you should do. I think that the $4,000 a month that you have is certainly available, and you can make that for college. Okay. The reason why I like a 529 plan is that you get some cover when it comes to your taxation, because now your tax bracket's going to be higher, right? How much money do you have in non-retirement assets? Anything? Do you have like an emergency reserve fund?
Yeah, we have an emergency reserve fund. It's probably right now around $30,000. And so very near term, it is to pump that back up to 50, which is where we see it needs to be for an emergency fund.
Agreed.
At the end of the year, I typically get about a $40,000 to $45,000 bonus, and that's our plan in December is essentially to build that back up.
Okay, so you top off emergency reserves. What about a brokerage account, just a plain vanilla brokerage account? Do you have one of those as well?
We have one, but it's got less than $1,000 in it.
So here's what I would do. Obviously you can only put $15,000 a year for each kid for the 529, but you can do $15,000 times 2, right? Because you're a married couple. So I would pump, So I would pump the money into the 529 plan. It doesn't really matter because the money is fungible between the two of them, right? So I would just do it equally, and they're so close in age that you can get the money back and forth. I would do that. That's going to be a portion of the $4,000 a month, and the rest of it I dump into the investment account. I would use the 529, the tax sheltered part of the 529, as long as I could. And what you could do is, depending on What happens with your daughter? She gets into MIT and they say, oh my God, we've been dying to have kids from Raleigh. You're going to get a scholarship and it's not going to be all that money, right? Maybe it's not going to be the full 70, but let's see what happens. But you could use some of your investment account along the way if you had to. And I would, from there, kind of see how this goes and also see what, if your son's like going to UNC, what's in state for UNC? It's probably hard to get in, right?
25.
I mean, so if your son ends up saying, like, I'm going to UNC, you can certainly get a better sense of where your son is heading in a year or two. And so then you can make a different decision a year from now.
Let me ask you about the 529.
Sure.
You mentioned that the tax benefits of the 529. In North Carolina, it's not tax deductible.
Right.
Contributions to a 529. It's not. I don't believe it's federally tax deductible.
It's not deductible,
right?
but the accumulation, there's no tax on it. So if you let's just pretend that you put your $48,000 a year into a brokerage account. The money earned on that account will be taxable. The capital gains, the distributions in the mutual fund, that's all taxable to you. Okay?
Yep. Okay.
When it's inside of a 529, it's not. And so all you're doing is saving that money. I get that, I'm sorry that you guys don't have a 529 plan that does give you that deduction, but the plan itself is incredibly, I think, compelling. I really do. Let me just see who's running this. So listen, the 529 plan in North Carolina is a Vanguard plan. That's low fees. And so I think that that's very much worth doing. So, I mean, look, if you were going to invest in Vanguard funds inside of your investment account, the only difference is you got to pay the tax due on it. And even if you own index funds, taxes are due. You own a S&P 500 index, dividends come from those 500 companies that get distributed to you. And those dividends would be taxed at your ordinary tax bracket. And any capital gains that accrue would be taxed at your capital gains rate, which for you guys will be probably 23.4%. So I think it's better to use the 529, especially since both kids are going to go to college. We don't know where, but I like putting the money in there. And whatever's left over after you do your 30, then put it in the brokerage account.
Okay.
I love your wife for doing this. It's like really, it is a game changer. So I applaud her for taking the plunge. It's hard to go back to work, I imagine, having only worked for the last 100 million years for myself. But my sister went back, and I know that it wasn't an easy decision. And but I agree with you, a lot of psychic benefits from doing this.
Very much so. And thank you so much for taking my call and your encouragement. Of course. Love listening to your show.
Well, thank you so much for calling, and let us know if there are any other questions, okay?
You got it. Thanks, Jill. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay, that's a wrap of our Better Off bonus question of the week. If you've got a question, it's simple. Send us an email at askjill@betteroffpodcast.com. We'll arrange to get you on. And don't forget, in just a couple of days, there's a brand new episode of the Better Off Podcast sponsored by Betterment. Talk to you then.